signal lookout point on the Southampton coast. The structure is behind me. It's been abandoned for a long time. I've come here with the aim of shooting the Milky Way core above or behind it. So I'll join you on the journey and we'll see how we get on tonight. Fingers crossed the clouds stay away. I've arrived at sunset. As you can see, the sun is just dipping below the horizon in the distance. I've got plenty of time to set up, sort out my composition, set out the star tracker. As I've got plenty of time, I'll show you the inside of the building, 'cause it's actually quite interesting. Got to mind the bird poop. You see the front door has been blocked up. There's remains of a fireplace there. Got some beautiful old windows. Open exposed rafters. And then the view out this side to what was the setting sun. So my plan will be that I've got some lights with me and I'll set them up inside the building, and I think it'll add an extra dimension to the photograph if I have some warm light coming out of the windows. I will play around with the light position as I'm setting up to maximise the exposure. And I've got plenty of time, so I can play around into the blue hour as it's getting dark, get a decent long exposure foreground, which I can then blend later on with the track sky that I'll hopefully take if the skies stay clear. So you're probably wondering how I plan a shoot like this. Basically, I've seen pictures of this location before. As I said, I've not been here before. This is my first visit to this location. I can promise you it won't be my last. I use an app called PhotoPills, which you pay a subscription for. PhotoPills is invaluable for photography. There are other apps out there that do the same thing, but I personally find that PhotoPills is the best one. The reason why it's invaluable is because it will show you where the sun rises, sunsets, the moon rises and the moon will set, and it also shows you where the Milky Way core rises and sets, which is obviously what I'm most interested in for tonight. So what I've done is I've taken a screenshot on my phone when I've arrived here, which I can show you, and that allows me to plan my composition. So from knowing where the Milky Way will be at the time that I will need it to be, dictates where I can position myself, my tripod, my star tracker, and get the Milky Way core. So we're into the twilight now, so I'm starting to think about my composition. Now, what I've got to bear in mind with this is, where I want elements to line up. Basically, I want the Milky Way core to the left of the building. And as I said earlier, I'm going to have some lights inside there. But my height of my tripod does make a huge difference. So if I go down quite low, you can see now that the wall in front of the door and the window is now interfering with it. So I don't really want that. So I'm going to have to come up higher with my tripod, just so I get a little bit of separation between the elements of the door and the window. Obviously, when I take the shot, I'm going to have to allow for a lot of sky, so they're going to have an angle probably much more like that. And obviously I've got to leave room on the left hand side of the frame for the Milky Way core to fit in. I thought that'd just be useful to explain what I'm looking for with this. So I'm not sure how well this is going to show up, because I can't seem to get my screen to not blow out the highlights when videoing it. But coming early has allowed me to sort my composition out nice and early. So I know exactly where I need to stand. I've got the tripod height where I want it, so that the walls aren't interfering with the windows. So I should be able to get a nice foreground shot shortly. What I'll do is I'll take a test shot with the foreground with no light in it, and then I'll be able to show you a shot later on with the lights on inside the building and show you the difference that makes to adding life to the image. As you can see, the installation of a light inside of the building has really worked well, and it's definitely added an extra element to the picture. I'm so glad I did this. So the light I've been using to illuminate the inside of the building is this little lume tube I've got off Amazon. What's cool about it is you can adjust the brightness and the colour temperature, so you can have green lights, blue lights, all sorts of lights. It's a bit of trial and error setting it up to get the light as you saw in the foreground, but it is a worthwhile investment and didn't cost a lot of money at all, which is brilliant. Okay, so I've got the star tracker set up. As you can see, oh, the screen's gone off. As you can see, I've started doing some long exposures. This one is 90 seconds. The fly in the ointment is that bright white blob in the bottom right hand corner, which is the Brittany Ferry sailing from Plymouth to either Roscoff or Santander, which is going to go right across the bottom of the frame in a minute, which is going to ruin all these exposures. So this is the track shot I've got. As you can see, I've got a satellite going through the image and the Brittany Ferry is creeping across. Oh, screen's gone off again. That Brittany Ferry is going from right to left, so it is going to go right across the bottom of the Milky Way core at some point in the not too distant future. I probably won't stay here too much longer, just because the conditions with that ferry coming across are going to get worse, not better. I have had to move location because it was too windy up at the top. So this will end up being effectively a composite image with the Milky Way sky blended in. Hello. It was an enjoyable evening under the stars. As you've just seen, I've made it back to the car safely. I've got about an hour's drive to get home. I'm going to be home in at least an hour earlier than I anticipated. That Brittany Ferry really did start messing up with long exposures. I'll put the final image at the end of the video. Thanks for watching.
So here we have the final image. The foreground was shot at 4 seconds, f5.6, ISO 250, and this is blended with a tracked sky of 120 seconds, f2.8, ISO 400 on a Skywatcher Star Adventurer 2i Pro tracker. The camera used was a Nikon D850 and Nikon 14-24mm f2.8 lens.